Yes, finally, 177 days of John Dramani Mahama's government. Phase 2, no. And now, all on the 24-hour economy. Brilliant. The program I call me Kebi and I'm a stress. Mama follow me channel on that channel there. Move videos, there about 3 videos. I'm on 24-hour economy. I think I'm one of the few journalists 24-hour economy videos on home. Affirming the motion say make them a dream say a good policy they be ye be chechiremu wo show me video we enkohwe no we anu akohwe other ones na me de kasa about 24-hour economy no and the video we me yema wa wo ni adwuma say wo hwe video we bi wa wo ye business small medium and micro businesses na so show video we be wow person what 24-hour economy na say no say because I feel that there's a lot of deliberate pollution out there say what here and I've told you on the critical analysis channel no we share our views unfiltered yenye crowd argument say group needs to say design it now there be we independently share our views whether you agree or disagree. That is what the essence of democracy is about. In the video where for what we need what we business, how you can take advantage of the 24-hour economy. And on the critical analysis channel. Make sure you subscribe to me. Also subscribe click the bell notification me the video be to my be. And no man now President John Dramani Mahama, we are not launching the 24-hour economy no. Me yes me Indian and who's a Indian Prime Minister so some we even say me tie bini bibia because you need to be abreast of information. Mumunti eja me serve mo. And no as at 9 na my conflicted because Gusi Tando our year 24-hour economy advisor no e was City TV on Bernard Avle and Harun Edris one of my favorite politicians around and so PM Express. The man will share me Facebook me control say Haruna is good. When you are good. Bring Papa no bring. And now, end this decision where say the first quote unquote public interview of 24-hour economy. Harun Edris and Kasano. Whoever took that decision took a master stroke of a decision. Me upload this any panel. Me check him the entire yes sir. Enti me wie no na say me da be 10:30. Mana me wie no bi san send me 24-hour economy document no. Na say eh mo pese me kumi. Enti me da be 1:05 na wasa be do me video ama wo be hu 8 AM Ghana time. Inti mesum medama say. Now what I want to do in this video is I want to break down the 24-hour economy for you because there's still some confusion around it, and I will show you what government wants to do. How will the system be like? What are the thematic areas I will focus on? So, what business we now areas now you can take advantage of it. So how can you position yourself to take advantage of this 24-hour economy? Because again, you say to have always been consistent to 24-hour economy. It's a good policy. It can be done. It is possible, and the evidence abounds on my channel in the videos. Am I now? My main starting is say. Me and 2024 a manifesto of NDs na move 24-hour economy. There be in their 2020 manifesto. Almost through 24-hour economy room. But because of 2020 now all the polls, EIU near their predecessor MPP Kufuor Benya the second term, and we didn't see much of it. But I saw it first in the 2020 manifesto. Okay, this is 2020 manifestos now. Section 9.3 on the Employment Act, 9.3.1 and I'm who 25 economic come out. Musana we say be yankra mine na budon those people na nyesen people cry and this mom kwanom kasama wom. They pollute the conversation. Omo kan won na 25 economy ni dimbone. In 2020 manifesto ni nyina ho say given Ghana's small market of only 31 million and per capita income of $2,200, there will be an aggressive promotion of exports, which will lead to a demand in labor to meet increased production for both domestic consumption and export. In Tusha, the key anchor of the 24-hour economy no, is not about passport office near there. It's largely about export. And it's about crippling import. And you know, say domestic consumption because Ghana is an import-driven economy. And Tusha, the top 10 year producing grains, among wheat, chalote, brazia, cooking oil. Sane man ye betimi aya ye beti domestic then consumption so ye di free import. We will substitute an import substitution. Niema na box we a wo kokran onkra bi obeye ne Ghana ha import substitution. So the largely largely the anchor of the 24-hour economy no, is to cut Ghana's import and rather produce, add value and export. Ye dibi wa ha ne dibi su kwa adwama so akoton no bronye kanya foreign exchange e di aba be say economy nem. What you say? Or say to accommodate this anticipated demand for Ghanaian goods and services, the next NDC government will create a three-shift economy, 24 hours, and then beginning from 6 a.m. 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. A1, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. A1, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. A1, three-shift, 24-hour economy. That is the basic understanding. Or say, and other high-end services. This is where the high-end services comes in. DVLA, passport office near there. It will be a catch us at 24-hour economy. I say passport office one quarter 24 hours and non one 24 economy. Any document to BM. Any document to BM. Young Cos say that operate 24-hour non-stop. The additional 2 shifts will be a source of additional employment. Companies that operate 24-hour economy with only 2 shifts of 6 hours each, in violation of the labor law, which specify minimum of 8 hours, will be required to run 3 shifts and thus create a third stream of jobs. Ghana labor law may allow it for 8 shifts. In general, the brilliant Haruna Drisuka say there will be a tweaking of the labor laws of Ghana to seal the 24-hour economy. Because as we speak, you know say to multimedia means 12 hours because against the foundations of the labor law. Anything you can 8 to 5. 8 hours, 9 to 5, 8 hours, 8 to 4, 8 hours. That is how the structure is. So there need to be an amendment of the Labor Act to seal this.
There would be some reforms of the legal regime that affects the way we do business in Ghana. For instance, the Labor Act will have to be revised. That will respond to the shift question. I mean, every worker who knows that you go to work at 8:30 and close at 4:30. If you want extended hours, you have to discuss that even with the trade union congress, but you have to come by legislation and say that a category of workers can work beyond 4:35 p.m. If you've been to Europe, have you observed when you are in The Hague or Netherlands and when you are in Paris when they close their shops? Yeah. Based on their labor laws. So there will be a revision of Ghana's labor laws in order to accommodate if necessarily there has to be a shift system. But what we are saying, which was pronounced by the president, is that this initiative is not going to be public sector led. It will be private sector led.
So this is where I got to know the 24-hour economy, and this is why I love it, because it makes sense. Because on my yeboka, and I may share data be. Your top 10 exports. My main firm and San Makoso. Let me build the foundation for you properly. This is according to Graphic Business. Osha Ghana Nema ye krapa top 10. Nema won't be a petroleum and normal. Cement 24-hour economy can be about cement. We no better. Cement in Kwa ye cra every year 4.83 billion cedis. Billion cedis. Okwa grains, cereals, grains, any idea 3.37 billion. Wheat, bro, and a sanyamano. And look at our land. We have the agrarian land. Say, why should we import these things in billions? And see, $1 and and that's what the 24-hour economy seeks to create. And based on my understanding of what Haruna Drisu said, based on my understanding of what Gusitano said on TV, this is what the John Mahama administration want to do. So in the next 7 to 10 minutes, let me take you through the 24-hour economy currently ya launching under John Dramani Mahama government. And saying that here, but let me start a caveat. John Mahama didn't just launch the 24-hour economy or launch BBF Accelerated Development Export Council. I will not John Mahama na ne be che. Ni etian se council na de omu be bia no se. Niema Ghana betumi ne Ghana ha no. Yen kokra bi ma. Ombe yen hyehyeye to forestall that. I'll take you through. So let's take a systematic one. Incentive somebody bani bi say, "Wa wo ye dwuma." Obaso ko 24-hour economy na so yes small medium scale no. So what the machines ba, aban jew e be ka ho a. What the machines ba, ne friend import duty no untua bi. Enti on manufacturing equipment say bia what the machine bi ba wo betwa ice cream. Wo betwa blocks. machine bi baby in toast o bedane den matima ye ne tin tomato semi processed say in toast ne gu a ensay because in toast ne gu raw it mi say into wo the machine bi ba wo benu mo be kan na ensay a some machine na wo de ban untua duty wo so again renewable energy infrastructure my masters me renewable energy SDG 7 that is my research area undergraduate the same thing Ghana your energy sector ne bebre no challenges are facing is because ECG is stressed yawo wia yawo nsuo yawo wind ene ade eno ne fe renewable energy ne ECG de man no kind of fossil energy or brown energy energy pollute environment no energy ane boarding renewable energy no nyame na de amayen empollute green tin kan green energy kontomre ye green na bi abeduru ye green it's a kind of green energy wow what is renewable energy ne ba na say panel for PV plates ne sa ne mane nya no ye new import duty again raw materials now what they be adwuma under the 24-hour economy no ye ndi duty again industrial logistical infrastructure and make them because Mahama briketi be fan industrial parks eyefuo aye de beye aduane ye di ni Ghana ha aduane betumi de akra akọ agyaman so akoton e sika bro mindem so this is 1 2 again wa san ye 24-hour economy utua corporate taxes so let me give you example multimedia you do not say to me pay e balance ya yate bibi e friend income tax it multimedia better your staff ni na income tax no so the corporate tax aka ho no they come buy in the form of what taxes because ye yeduma It's a contribute to nation building. Wow, company we 24-hour economy no. We be 2 shifts. Also, me mean to me 3 shifts no. Me 2. Into o me 6 to 2, 2 to 10 no. Wono, ya be 25% rebate. Nye say, o corporate tax na utu na say 100 Ghana cedis a. And say utu I'm just using that example. Ubetua just 75 cedis under 24-hour economy. Ubenya 25% tax rebate. Say 100,000 utu in the form of corporate taxes. Ubetua 75,000 Ghana cedis. Into what save 25,000 as tax rebate. Now what that means is that the company will plow back the 25,000 I was saving to create additional employment, to increase productivity, create additional jobs for people. That is the thinking. That is my understanding of it. And again, I believe that is possible. We are 3 shifter. We have 50% tax rebate. And then you see example now, you say, we have income tax of 100,000, corporate tax of 100,000. We have just 50,000. 50,000 or any smart business will be bien in Krabatani. If you boko sunyanya could be, if you boko takradia could be, or could be a mebu nebe juma, a security job or cry a sustainable job because a factory, a manufacturing, they be a humanitarian, it is sustainable. It is better than youth in trees, youth in afforestation, youth in street lights, youth in photos. 3 months no more koye picketing yentua meka ehun bi under say John youth in afforestation yentua muka napco yentua muka so the evidence abounds. That is why I disagree with why you jobs now youth in this youth in that baby. Let's create sustainable jobs using industrialization. So that is another incentives. Again, mamu produce moya business amu produce nyama we no. Mat de. Mamu produce cereals and grains. Ebro, emu, wheat, any idea. I never come pay champa masam no. When you look at the irrigation dams you have in our country, 90% of them was done by a champion. Dowenya no mudiamu na ye champion. And the champion the 70s, 2 years Ghana didn't import rice, and now they imported rice billions. Ya kramu. And the champion 70s yan kramu. He's my second best president at Kwame Nkrumah. Read about a champion and have videos and we can check. Yankramu, it was because the irrigation dams were there. We have the climate to grow rice. John Mahama said, "Man, mo beko saadi enim no abambe so wasen." So if you a business, na bet me aye, mo your youth bet me come together, present a proposal to the 24-hour secretariat, and they are going to also establish a 24-hour authority. I also come there. Again, vegetables, and I crack tomatoes for Burkina Faso, a desert. But Thomas Sankara enya vision bi eye bibi on fan one gorge one village eno na kufa no be one village one dam omo ya dam ni nsuo ba nsuo to ba na dam na tasty no nsuo ni one na dam na tasty. We need to do that. In the vegetables on be so asin or you see some be so asin root and tubers on be so as animal protein so was sugars so was. Again, another good thing about this is that VAT exemption CBB the bemang time of use electricity under the 24-hour economy no what will produce between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. no or electricity no you better so the amount everywhere in the world meaning you better me check it electricity use no fie ne boarding senior industry use Ghana and Kwana the industries use the produce no ne boarding senior use no fie John Mahama so very versus no about 10 to 6 a.m. What we industry adwuma bi under 24-hour economy no ye be ma electricity a ne bo air for betimi dia produce so if you're a smart business you will take your production to the night, employ more people for them to produce for you because of cheaper electricity tariff. Ye be ma special meter be calibrate possible me energy, that's my bag. If we be net metering you will meter bi wo ha e switch automatic wo ho possible me hu bi da e di minim ne make on that. Again, John Mahama said these areas are focus on another leg of the 24-hour economy. They say agro-economical parks around the Volta Basin. I was suggesting a farm plains, but I know I'm telling you this. No, some irrigation of farm plains on my side and so. Me call a bitifi, and we are connecting to a farm plains. I said my car, I said BBC me so. Minia, we went several kilometers around Kwan, and a from river and a daho land is a grass and Kwan. And I was asking myself, why can't we turn this area into a food basket? Into Mobile Kaya, that's not the first time I'm America. Only a co-business summit. No? I found place in Hene, on food don't cook no. They told Mahama said they should create a certain breed for them, and they can farm. Mahama saw best start to a Volta Basin around the Volta Lake. You know, they will take several hectares of land on by ecological zones. Then the irrigation will be done piping the Volta Basin to feed these agrological parks, which is brilliant. I didn't need to mean share. The time pay champions and if Papa be Professor Ajman Bafudia or not true champion book and they like a champion. A champion pressure feed yourself not be successful. No, it was because a champion could train in the US as a military officer. Now, or could no who grains no only to train to meet them now or cost several kilometers waiting Kwan and was asking himself, I don't know Ghana at the end of a can a year wheat and ye run Kwana yim. We can also make it wheat. We can make it a bro. You bet me in a board there. Na ye oko GOPDs wa wonim kwai oko abenkwa brim north ewura kwai ni ade nyina abenkwa. We can also have maize farms like that. We can have plantain in the best ecological parks now under this 24-hour economy. It is possible. We have the means. It's me kwame bomper say I don't do you I found place for irrigation dam they will accelerate it no matter my yen ntem edi amayen. Again also urban farming clusters. So you oko Germany near them and call what that be movies. Bon say be a dine so and food kakra bi wo ho greens bi what it obedi ni nyina aboa. Again you be Volta Lake irrigation system. Sir oh ade dam railway near Kreta Kosomo no. It was because any person link Temahabo to a Kosomo ye do a Kosomo near the near mana fapo so to bupe. It is a cheaper way to transport goods than say every free Tema. In Koko, Kumase, Techimai, no more say a quite accident in the so we created the Tema and Pakadan, that is it. To produce and as a goods in do Tema Haba, ya the best found real swag could do Pakadan. Nem Pakadan swagge, no, not their face so to bupe direct. Reducing traffic on the road, reducing congestion, reducing the accident, reducing how our roads are destroyed. All this under the 24-hour economy. So the Volta Lake irrigation network no be to do all this. Brilliant. Me manage and yama no mo person mo ye no ho. Again, no be creative be from national industrial parks. And also to add value to the produce ebeba no. Say so to move video ni bi. Krobi no ma produce toast and akutuo negupa ho na pro. So industrial parks won't betimi agede aye. Now, this is some brief aspect of it. Cost no about $4 billion. Abansi cost $4 billion, which is about 41 billion cedis. Now, Abansi they committed or no committed 300 million from government. Again, 1D1 District Assembly Common Fund, how much can they bomb? No contributed about $148 million through Some market, they say we created 24-hour market in almost all the districts. Some facility no edi about 148 million beba. That's also a total a bank contribution no roughly about 448 million, roughly 450 million. You ask yourself, where is the other money come from? They estimated about 3.5 billion private sector. So yesterday, we they were key that this will be led by the private sector. In fact, President Mahama Ekebi, a brand well launching the
Position the Volta project at Akosombo not only as a source of power to power Ghana's industrial sector, we also saw it as an integrated project that will provide agribusiness, it will provide land for agriculture, irrigation. Unfortunately, that of his vision have been lost. Today, we're recreating Kwame Nkrumah's dream. Today, our celebrate Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's dream comes alive again. We'll irrigate over 2 million hectares of land for intensive agriculture under Growth 24. We'll establish agro-industrial parks for textiles, pharmaceuticals, and food processing under Make 24. We'll develop tourism clusters along the lake under Show 24. We'll turn the lake into a central corridor that connects the north to the south and the east to the west under Connect 24. And so, ladies and gentlemen, imagine a future where fresh fruits and vegetables from Tamale are air freighted daily to Europe and other destinations. Imagine aquaculture along the lake, the Volta Lake, that sustains jobs and provides nutrition, and ports on the Volta Lake that reduce our transportation costs by up to 80%. This is how we unlock the full value of inland Ghana and reconnect with our Sahelian neighbors. The finance and implementation institutional frameworks for 24-hour plus. The private sector will lead the 24-hour plus program. Government will facilitate and not dominate.
Yes. So that is President Mahama. It will be led by the private sector because the private sector that is coming on board and government is only giving them the enabling environment to do. Minia, mekasa tintin nyina no say we youth start positioning yourself for this things. We a business start putting your documentations together and enjoy these things. We better do production economy. We better signing out for some of these tax waivers and incentives. Adeba kwa John Mahama kan mani sanji and say what it means is that you pay more taxes and near more the taxes neighbor to some money. You know what they will do? They are going to amend the GIPC Act, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act, and say one near you produce in the Ghana. What they also call China, Turkey, UAE, Akofaba, no bet you have 2.5% import levy on those products. Why is it? Why is the government doing that? They are doing that to discourage people from importing, but to produce. Nema ben on the better to process food. In toast you ben a Ghana hana, ya na can oko kraba, we bet you 2.5% import duty more. Cosmetics in Kumani are there quite a you ho. Abe yetimi de yenkun yebetimi ene Ghana ha again pharmaceuticals para pokufama money ns chemist na ye betimi aye ne Ghana ha plastics mini a wonim say plastics ma plastics na me hwe article bi da wan fa plastics nko Ghana import ye millions of cedis me hu na me ye ma hye da we hiti a aye ne ma at aye ne ma plastics me hu am de be ma several millions. You bet me in Ghana. Cement. Jata cement to Ibrahim Ama Ghana ni yen kwasha na se no nye ni ye. Second hand clothing, sanitary pad. Eti Mahama sanitary pad no be checha. Ni ampo yembo import wa ko import ya baby e beju 2.5% e be in Ghana. Me use so to me use bi da. Mama follow match. Mo say me check sanitary pad maybe ya. Ge obi ye bi fe no eco me pad. Just Google it. Ghana ni pad o mo ye nkawe na ge ne ye no. Kumase nkawe. Kumase nkawe no ye no. And it's our partner meet global stand wako US in a girl no Mandela Washington followed na ko US or ko EU Kenya for crab fan mo ko chiro mo bi ni ade ye shana so bit ma ye magana ye. So this is a brief analysis of the incentives. Me yo video ni wa ba mo fenche me omo wi a John Mahama on some be mayor first 120 me catch us say there will be an act to parliament to establish the 24-hour economy. Now you be a friend the 24-hour economy authority that will report directly to John Dramani Mahama as chair of the Accelerated Export Development Council. No person mo yen say authority no abanye bebe bia no. So authority ni betina ho. Just like how free SHS has become an ironclad. You cannot change free SHS. It has come to stay. It in the legislature called parliament. No. Scholarship authority bill no so be konada. Me no mo yes adi nada. The next bill a 24-hour economy bill. That is where they will establish the authority, and that is where all businesses, individuals interested to enjoy all these incentives. I mean, watch it. Me, I stand committed to this. It is possible. We may not have all the infrastructures now, but let's start. Because Rome was not built in a day, and I was so happy with the explanations of Aaron Edrisu.
Let's talk about the government agencies and how they tap into the 24-hour economy. You know, before this launch, some agencies are taking the lead in rolling out 24-hour services. For example, DVLA, we have the passport office, etc. But in the document, I did not see any mandate on government agencies to operate 24 hours. Is it deliberate to allow agencies themselves to make a decision?
Because in the words of the president, the state is to facilitate and enable.
Okay.
He does not expect that 24-hour economy will be anchored on the Ghanaian public sector. No.
Okay. And I saw that you're going to pilot.
The regulatory regime is important. In fact, there is a list of about 10 to 25 companies
that will be a pilot.
The 24-hour secretariat is currently evaluating for purpose of pilot. And the idea is to pick at least one in each region of Ghana for the major launch of it. So for us, from slogan to action.
Yes, brilliant submission. Brilliant submission. Me jidi say ebeye. I did this video, me taking my time to explain it to you because I know say there's some misinformation out there any idea. But me you say to today, me dream say ebeye. Me dream say ebeye also because when you are committed to something, now we shasiye, now boom, now we shemu kina ebeye. And private sector for ne komuno. Yanko enye djuma mo Ghana. This is the time for Ghana to take commanding height of the economy. Anytime a prayer champion was say, Ghanaians must take commanding height of our economy. Look at the economy. And the China malls. Why can't we have Ghana malls? Otia tax a ketuebi. You are repatriating the profit. This is the standard of the 24-hour economy. Private sector led. Government creating the enabling environment, government giving you favorable tax regimes, government the tax so that the local ones and the neighbor one be for on only the no tax more and the it will discourage him to go into production. Abide by import substitution. Brilliant. Let's support it. So and also so that the dollar will be stable. We produce an the dollar will be stable. Or man be in work credit and be about my man the dollar the dollar will stabilize. You be create adwuma. You produce more. Mebu no te krabiase a oni bibia ye political yi ba no kotututuo ne we bo ne sa de maneman nya no. Obenya bibia me yu se tu amegina he. Menia. Se ka se John Mahama be ba bi ye nkoto bo nkohye t-shirt. Adwen se me ko bi. Me nya ho because me ye adwuma. It mebu no adwuma even crime. There's a direct link crime be ko from. E bra me call sanitary pad business nim no. E man be 20 cedi no bi anyam no. Poverty. Uhia ema manfo ya de enye se woye 20 cedi obegide akodi nkwasasem konum jot no onya bre memetie yi kwase enko hepu no ba bia me ye den ko hebi kwase enkonum sa me bia me ye den ko bi me ne bre YouTube for tweme adwuma man kasa me ye twim because I'm a staff me nya bre. So I'll put my energies into productive sectors. The crime crab from rukasam sabe kwase asem bre ebete abafom. It is a good thing because there were unemployment of 14.7%. Ninti ama me fini ante na more customers is because unemployment would disaggregate here. E ma de na doso. Ghana how many adwuma do na e ma. So a bit me. The next thing I also say is that government must be committed. You will be 1D 1F. A do ribina koye cronies. Any friends, any other day at the end of let's give it to people who deserve. Gay ya me kind of party, minimum that will be introduced me to no. First while you koto import to the AB. Then later to reusable pardon. Pardon that means only 1 year. US will accept it. All these are innovations we need to check. And this is where we must all support for you to succeed. Midibesia. Na share what you mame. I have critical analyst channel. Subscribe and click the notification. The video be to my bonus my baby. Don't feel shy. I will share comments. Share what you but in a dark cross manner. Yamisha non come. Send the baby American here. Ghana and see and measure so be show. Bye bye.